Today we're going to end up talking about war rooms. So what are war rooms? War rooms are when the FDA is coming in to inspect your facility. How do you prepare for inspection? And can this theoretically be used for other types of inspections? Yeah, but we tend to primarily speak of it in the context of the FDA.
This is the Darshan Talks podcast, regulatory guy, irregular podcast with host Darshan Kulkarni. You can find the show on Twitter at Darshan Talks or the show's website at darshantalks.com.
What we are going to discuss are the latest areas of enforcement. We're going to talk primarily about clinical trials, but it could apply to a variety of different things. The most common types of enforcement actions. How do you respond to an enforcement action? We're not really going to discuss the actual writing of them. Planning and inspection, so at pre-inspection, during the inspection, post-inspection. When should you get outside help? So what are we really not going to get into? We're not going to talk about the anatomy of a response. And again, I'm not giving you guys legal advice. So what are the latest areas of enforcement? If you are a pharmaceutical company and the FDA has come in, you're going to be, you might be targeted. You might also be targeted if you are what's called a clinical trial site. A clinical trial site, again, is where the doctor's office or the hospital where the actual research is being conducted. Another area might be if you are a CRO. A CRO stands for Clinical Research Organization. It's the company that the pharmaceutical company reaches out to and says, we have certain concerns, and basically, and we don't really know how to run a study. Can you actually run the study for us as the CRO? And then you could be an IRB or an Institutional Review Board, which is basically the company that's supposed to be a third-party neutral company. And what they do is they review the proposed research and provide commentary. For IRBs, the big problem that they have is lack of adequate documentation. They often will not actually follow their own written procedures. There may be issues of inappropriate uses of expedited procedures. That often comes from pushback from the sponsor. And then there is the failure to appropriately weigh risks and benefits. And that, again, is concerning because if you are a IRB, that is your core job. Then if you are a CRO, you might be cited for failure to adequately monitor inspections. Now, from a investigations. If you are a pharmaceutical company and you're saying, what do I want a CRO? What do I want a CRO for? The big reason you'd want one is to actually start the study. But one of the big goals of a CRO is actually to monitor the investigation and make sure that they're doing their job properly, that the site is doing its job properly. And then failure to actually ensure that the study is being performed according to the protocol. Protocol being the document that is the study plan, if you will, the recipe for the study. These are the things that are expected to happen at these times. If you are the study sponsor, which is the pharmaceutical company, the medical device company, who's actually paying for this research, or who owns the drug, they might be cited for failure to monitor. And one of the big questions you might ask is, well, isn't that what we just used the CRO for? And the FDA's position is that you cannot delegate. You can delegate the work to the CRO, but you still retain the responsibility to make sure the work is being done. Failure to adequately ensure that the protocol is being followed. So again, the CRO might be doing it, but you're still responsible to ensure that the work is being done properly. Failure to adequately warn other investigators of observations. Now, think of it this way. If you are a pharmaceutical company, what might happen is that they might say, you're the only one with the CRO who might see across investigational sites. So if you find a problem in one site with the drug, it's incumbent on you, it's your responsibility to actually make sure that the information gets shared. And failure to appropriately choose investigators. So again, are you choosing these physicians because they are the right physician for the job? Are you choosing them because they're going to be good people to cite when you try to market the product? If you are a clinical trial site, one of the big reasons that the FDA might reach out to you and say that they have concerns is because you aren't adequately and timely responding and providing the adverse events. Failure to adequately protect the rights, safety, and welfare of subjects. Again, patients are coming to you because they have concerns and they want to help people. That's one of the big reasons that subjects or what most people would call patients are coming. One of the big arguments that you have in clinical research is, are they subjects or patients? And if you're participating in a clinical study, you have no reasonable likelihood or reasonable, how should we put this? You cannot expect to be treated, because if you knew that the drug works, you should not be doing research with it. You should just be giving that product to people. If you know that the drug doesn't work, you still shouldn't be doing research.
This was part 1 of a 4-part series on FDA inspections. Part 2 is up next on the Darshan Talks podcast. Regulatory Guy, Irregular Podcast with host Darshan Kulkarni. You can find the show on Twitter at Darshan Talks or the show's website at darshantalks.com.